look at her. We're just throwing Mina Kimes right on the draft treadmill. Get on the draft treadmill.
No.
You got to run as fast as you can. You got to give us maximum draft information. Why is J.J. McCarthy climbing? Why is Penix not the best quarterback in this draft? Are you getting smoke screened and interested in every angle of this? Because I do not like this particular night or this weekend in our lives.
Why do you not like it?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I'm morally against all drafts on account of...
Mina, he covered the draft and took a sabbatical for 6 months right after covering the draft.
The commerce of it makes me sad. The limits and the celebration of a system that keeps costs down. It makes me sad.
I know. I agree that the draft truly offends my moral belief that people should be paid what they're worth. And that's a drive into deep left field by Castellanos. Let's talk about the draft. Ask me anything.
Go ahead, guys. Have at it. She's a draft expert, and she eats this stuff up.
McCarthy, why are we everybody getting high on their own supply of J.J. McCarthy? We saw him get hit the entire season, Mina.
I think that it's debatable whether they were hiding him versus whether they were, and by they I mean, of course, Jim Harbaugh and Michigan playing in a way that worked, obviously. They were also playing with a lead a lot, so there wasn't a reason in a lot of games for him to throw them out of trouble. Teams like him because a couple reasons. Teams love the unknown, right? So there's a small sample size, so you can project anything you want onto J.J. McCarthy. He is a perfect canvas upon which NFL GMs can paint their fantasies, but he also has some pretty good traits: accuracy, athleticism. I think he's smart. Would I take him in the top 3? No, and I don't think he'll go in the top 3.
A lot of times people do deep dives, they grind tape. I know you've been grinding tape, and there's a lot of good tape out there. Who's someone that's being talked about as a first-round talent that you can see the metrics and the promise, but the tape actually doesn't support this?
Ooh. I am a little bit apprehensive of Xavier Worthy, who is the receiver who broke the 40 record out of Texas, who is being talked about as going in the first round because of his speed. But when you put on the tape, I don't really see him as a first-round receiver. I also have concerns about his size. He looks small on tape. He plays small. But I think that speed is going to be very alluring to certain NFL teams.
Mina, who is the best player in this year's draft?
I think it's Marvin Harrison Jr. To me, he is as close as it gets to like a perfect receiving prospect, but as I've seen in some time. And what's wild is there's 3 receivers in this draft that I feel almost equally about, but he is just so complete as a player, Stu. I mean, his route running is unbelievable. His athleticism, his speed, I think is somehow underrated. And then he does it all at 6'4", which is wild. So he has the size prototype you want to.
Who's the team that you can see trading out of the first couple of picks?
The first couple of picks?
Yeah.
I don't think either team will.
Really? I'm saying first couple as in the first 5, let's say, because I know the
first 32, let's say.
The Patriots have been taking calls. I know Arizona's on the clock.
Okay, the first few picks. Okay,
please,
yeah.
Give me more. Yes, please.
Sorry, I didn't mean
first
to
couple
be,
of picks. Where there's going to be a trade.
Good
First
question.
4 picks, 5 picks, 6 picks.
Dan, your enthusiasm is palpable. I think that 5, it's 4 or 5. I think Patriots stick at 3 and take a quarterback. So you're looking at 4 or 5 as the J.J. McCarthy destinations. You got 2 teams in Arizona and L.A. that have a ton of needs on their roster, so I think both are probably taking a lot of calls. At this point, it feels like Arizona's going to stick and take Harrison Jr. because they do have that extra first rounder and a third. And so LA is the team that I would look to as a trade down for a team that wants to jump the Giants to get McCarthy.
Mina, just out of curiosity, when you say take calls, like, are they still doing it that way, or are they texting?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like anyone's taking calls anymore.
I thought you had a question.
Dude, the NFL and their obsession with secrecy, there's no way they're texting. And there was a video actually from last year's draft of Monty Osifort, who is the Cardinals' new GM, actually working the phones, literally on the phone, taking calls to do the trade with the Texans.
But Mina, the last time you were on with us, you were telling us, never mind Harrison, you were saying this is the best crop of receivers that you had ever seen.
Look at you.
Yeah, I believe that. I think at least 5 go in the first round. The question will be how many after Brian Thomas and Adonai Mitchell, whether there are other receivers that sneak into the bottom of the first round. The Chiefs at 32 are a team, a lot of folks, myself included, the Ravens, the Niners, they're all picking at the bottom. You're looking at and you're wondering if some of those other receivers, like your Lad McConkeys, your Jalen Polks, your Roman Wilsons, your Xavier Leggettes, somehow sneak up there.
Pick that the Dolphins could make at 21 that would impress you the most.
Ooh, if somehow, I don't think he will be, but if Troy Fautanu out of UW is there, that would be amazing. Amarius Mims, Troy is offensive tackle. A lot of people think play guard in the NFL. Mims is a tackle who didn't play a lot at Georgia, but was exceptional. Basically, any of the top, I would say 10 or so offensive linemen. That's how many are probably going to go in this draft. I think would be good picks, but don't sleep on the interior of the defensive line. If somehow Byron Murphy Jr., I don't think he will be, out of Texas, is still there at 21, I would take him over the offensive lineman.
Earlier this week, Greg Cody speculated the Dolphins may trade out of the first round, and we're doing a draft watch along through the Dolphins pick. Are we going to have to stay watching with the Dolphins not making a pick in the first round?
I mean, you don't have to. I do think, though, if they trade down, there's a good chance it would be with one of the teams picking near the top of the second. And so you would want to trade to see who comes off of the board so that you know who's going to be available to you in the second round.
Front offices and the analytics community have fallen in love with the off-ball linebacker, but it's typically a position where you find a lot of value. Will we see a sea change and people start reaching for off-ball linebackers in this draft?
Sea change?
No. This is a really, really not great linebacker or running back draft. But linebacker in particular, I think maybe one will go in the second round. I would be surprised because, it's not a great class. And then so few linebackers have succeeded quickly in the NFL. I mean, everybody loves the Lions draft last year, but I would say their other pick, not Jahmyr Gibbs, but Jack Campbell, struggled year one. And that's been the case with most linebackers taken in the first couple rounds over the last few years.
Mina, if you owned an NFL team, I'm wondering who does this the best. Who would you select to do your drafting?
I think Eric DeCosta at the Ravens has done a phenomenal job following Ozzie Newsome, who was one of the best drafting GMs in recent NFL history. So, yeah, he would be my pick.
Baltimore, organizationally, you can make an argument for them. Yeah. If not for the Patriots, they would have dominated the sport in an unusual way.
Yeah, I mean, I thought John Harbaugh, pardon me, it's going to be a thing, should have been I considered him as a Coach of the Year candidate last season. I think everything that they've done has been so smart, the way that they've managed their roster. But they're challenged, though. A huge exodus of coaching talent defensively. Seattle, we have their former defensive coordinator, but you've got coaches leaving. You've got players leaving on defense. You got to replace half the offensive line. So they have to nail this draft.
Mina, best name in the draft. If I go Chop Robinson, is there one better than Chop Robinson?
Wow.
There's Kool-Aid McKinstry, who I feel like Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid's pretty good.
Pretty good.
There's a receiver from Pitt named Bub Means. I feel like Kool-Aid has to get a draft bump purely because his name is Kool-Aid. The funny thing about Chop Robinson is he doesn't really have a chop move, and he's a pass rusher.
He should, right?
Okay, well, yeah.
Maybe we could teach him one
beyond his nickname.
Chop and swim
he really
over.
Doesn't have a super developed set of pass rush moves, so I feel like he's not really living up to his nickname.
Setting the quarterbacks aside for a second, which player in the NFL draft, depending on the team that they land on, can make the biggest impact day one? I'm not saying the best player, but the most impactful to a team's chances.
I mean, I think all three of those receivers are going to be studs. I think they're all going to be productive from the jump, in part because you guys, Dan, sort of going off of what we've been talking about with receivers, rookie receivers just make an impact so often now. This is something we've seen now, right, for a few years. It's not like the linebacker position where it takes them a second to reach their potential. We see them come in and be productive immediately, and I would be shocked if any of the top three aren't immediately stars in the NFL, to be honest.
Mina, just away from the draft from a second, is the quarterback room of Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci, and Zach Wilson the worst quarterback room in the history of the NFL?
Well, the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
What was their quarterback room like the COVID year when that Kendall Hinton
No,
played?
Mina, that's his move. He just says in the history of the NFL and then expects you to remember all of it. He can just do
Come on,
that.
Mina. Come on.
Mina, that's an exasperation to you. He just gives you all of history and then comes up with you actually get literal on it.
It's a really bad room, though.
It is a bad room. He just wanted to. He didn't even really.
I just wanted to say it.
He didn't even really have a question there, Mina. He just wanted to tell you that was the quarterback room.
Okay, I think it is definitely up there. Stu, let me flip it on you. Which one do you think is worse?
No, this is the worst one ever.
There you go. See, there is no worse. Mina, you can't win this game. You will always be an amateur in his game. He was just going. Weren't you giving me some stats, Stugotz, that the worst quarterbacks of the last 25 years?
Who started 30 games over the first 3 years? 3 of the 5 are New York Jets.
Yeah, poor Stugotz has been suffering for a long time. But Mina, before we get you out of here, do you feel like you've got a good grasp on what's going to happen at the top of the draft? Like, do you feel like you can say, this is what I think is going to happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think 1, 2, 3, yes. I do think it is going to go Williams, Daniels, May. I think the question is what you asked at the top is who comes up for J.J. McCarthy. But, and this is a crucial kind of unknown, and I really haven't seen a lot of certainty around this at all, whether or not a team does come up, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders, probably not the Raiders, but also is predicated on whether the Giants like J.J. McCarthy. And there has been really not a lot of information about whether they would actually take McCarthy if he was available to them at 6, because if not, then what's the point of trading above him? So that to me is the biggest unknown. I don't have a good feel for it because I don't know what New York is going to do.
30 seconds or less, the Tom Brady Netflix roast.
I saw Tom Brady post something about how like young kids today are too obsessed with their branding. I feel like that's setting himself up for the roast because he's so like that's him standing under the hoop, the TB12 branded hoop. It's so obviously easy to dunk on him for that.
He's right.
Mina, good seeing you. I'm sorry if we scared you and spooked you with our music. You're going to dork out on this draft, aren't you? You're going to be
I am
goof.
so excited for this draft, Dan. Get excited, Dan. Come on. Set aside your morals.
This man is a Super Bowl champion. He is somebody, usually in the shadows, these offensive guys, now that there are Kelce's roaming around, some of the interior linemen are showing their personalities and stuff. But this guy has interest in video. He has interest in being creative. And last year he had a 4-year deal with the Cincinnati Bengals. So thank you, Orlando Brown Jr., for joining us. And I just wanted to show you something as we got started here because Chris Cody's father, Greg Cody, is very proud of his mock draft. Chris, what is this grainy video you're showing us from 1964 here of your father promoting? What's he promoting?
Well, first I want to tell Orlando that my dad is a writer for the Miami Herald. It'd be weird if my dad, just like this, my producer's dad wanted to do a mock draft.
Okay, so sorry, Orlando, a person who does the show, our show, has a dad figure who's an old-timey newspaper writer. Go ahead, Chris.
And he is excited about his mock draft. He tries to predict all the first-round picks, and he's trying to get his audience excited for the draft. So I want to play this video for you and get your thoughts on it.
All right.
Hey, Instagrammies. Greg here. It's a big day. It's a big day. It's release day for my 33rd annual NFL mock draft. Find it online. Book it. Bank it. It's big. It's extremely big, and I got nothing else to say.
He's out of
mock
material.
draft,
so bad.
that kind of thing.
Orlando, please tell me how sad that video was.
So bad.
I mean, that is some funny though. That's some funny right there though. That's top of the line. And he's talking that shit. He must know something.
He doesn't.
He must know
It's
something.
big. It's extremely big.
Extremely big. Holy cow.
Hey, yo.
That's all right.
If you wanted to make your front camera that blurry, what would you put, like lotion on it? Like, what do you think is on the front of his camera?
That's the first thing that came to my mind. He must have just took a phone call or something. I was like, I mean, there's just no way in hell. I'm like, but you know, sometimes, man, older people are like that. How old is your dad, bro?
69.
Makes plenty of sense. Hell yeah, I love it.
Do you find, and I love when there's a personality like you hiding in the trenches, because the offensive linemen have to be so careful about, I don't know, they seem very scared publicly about causing a distraction. So it's pleased me to see you exploring your creative side, because you're like, okay, I've had great success. Now I can have the confidence of playing around with some creative things. It's nice to see, and it's rare. It's few people get that kind of confidence this early in life.
Yeah, well, man, I've been very blessed and fortunate. Obviously my dad played in the NFL. My mom has a history in broadcasting, so I feel like I spend a lot of time being myself. And something my parents always vocalized to me was be yourself and be expressive in that way. And kind of what you guys see with the mini mics, or anytime I'm mic'd up, messing around with teammates or anything like that, that's just me being me. And I've always been like that, man. It's weird because offensive linemen, as you noted, they get the stigma of being the quiet guy, the more reserved people, and it's not that I'm necessarily attention seeking, but I'm going to be me. And, I'm a somewhat of a loud personality, not annoying, but a loud personality.
It's so rare, though. It really is unusual. Yeah. You don't fit necessarily, do you? Because there are so few I've met in my entire career that are this comfortable being like, okay, I don't need to be as reserved as everyone at this conservative position tends to be.
Yeah, not at all. And also too, you got to keep in mind, offensive line is such a physical position, and you're always battling. And, this person that you guys see right now, I mean, I'm not this dude on the field when the helmets and shoulder pads come on, and my competitive side comes out, and I'm able to be somewhat the aggressive side of myself. And so, I think all of that stuff kind of goes hand in hand.
OB, when you talk about the mic'd up thing, what percentage of it doesn't make air? Like the stuff that you hear and say inside the trenches, inside the line. Can you give us like a little bit of a taste of it?
OB.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I've had some battles, man. One of my favorite guys to compete against is my teammate now, Trey Hendrickson, and we've had some battles, talking plenty of cash money shit, and it gets really vulgar in there. It definitely gets personal, but not to the extent of anything extremely disrespectful. More so within the game. But I mean, it's a lot of trash talking, man. I've guys have said all different types of things, and a lot of times, to be honest, man, some of your better players are normally your better talkers too. So
how about this? Me and you, we do a side business together, right? We take this to the NFL. We give them the mic'd up rated R version, right? But you have to put it behind a paywall, and then we get to hear what you guys actually say, but you got to pay for it.
Oh man, I mean, dude, that would do numbers, bro. That would do numbers, and I'm with that.
How's your trash talk in traffic? We were talking earlier about I had an incident where I hit somebody who was trying to, cut a bunch of people off. I hit somebody with cheaters never prosper. How do you feel about that one?
That's crazy,
bro. I'm not a big road rage guy. I kind of got a lot to lose. I'm also big as hell. So, I don't think anyone necessarily will use fists to fight me, but I'm not a big trash talker in traffic. I have had the bird thrown up at me a few times, but that quote, that's a hell of a quote, though. I don't know what I would respond to that with.
Well, what the guy responded with was,
I ain't cheating.
That's funny.
So what do you do when people kind of start something with you because you're so big?
And that is probably one of the most rare of occasions, man. I don't think anybody has done any stupid like that since maybe I was like 13 years old. I don't like a very, very, very rare situation where someone is going to approach me in that manner. I really, in my adult life, even in college, they'd be a fool.
Have you ever had a situation where you're in a spot where there's an altercation, you're sitting, so you don't do anything aggressive, but just to give the idea of your size, you just simply stand up and it all ends right there?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but I think I'm definitely somewhat normal looking. Sometimes you see bigger people and they're kind of funny looking. You know what I mean? Like something's up. I don't know, like a funny feature, nose, ears, eyes, face looks weird. I somewhat look normal. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of times what happens to me is, people see me sitting down and then I stand up and they're like, holy, like you're way bigger than I thought you were.
That's always the response, I would imagine. I don't think anyone has any idea the size and strength of what has to be out there to win a championship. I don't think the average human being. Can you articulate it to them?
Yeah, just in terms of size, like
well, when it comes to you, the thing that I'm amazed by with everything you guys do is I don't know what someone like you, your build, what you find strong. Like when you're up against somebody, I would imagine when I'm watching football and I see Myles Garrett, I'm like, that person's just stronger than everyone he's playing against.
Yeah, he's a very strong individual. A lot of times for me, myself, man, I'm a big dude and I pack a big punch. I'm heavy as hell. I do a good job creating leverage with my hands and my hand and arm angles and things like that. But, there are guys, man, and there are times where, a guy like Myles Garrett is incredibly strong. And, that's more so his functional strength, his ability to bend in the ankles, the knees, the hips, and create leverage through that type of movement and explosion. So, man, it's very football, especially offensive line, offensive tackle is a very, very difficult position to play, period. But, man, every now and again, you run up against those freak athletes, man. And, guys like Myles Garrett, incredibly strong football player.
Draft day is tomorrow. You were drafted. How stressful is that for someone who's in the process of being drafted?
Man, very stressful, man. For me, man, like it's always so weird because for so long, you've been on the team. I was in college for 4 years, in high school, and it's like that transition to the pros. Is somewhat a little bit strange because it's a lot of uncontrollables and it's a lot that you don't know that's going to happen. Or, I was told I was going to be a top 100 pick. I could go anywhere between 20 and 100, you know what I mean? But that's a lot of picks and that's also 2 different days. So, it's a lot of uncertainty, you know what I mean? That kind of comes with it, man. It's extremely stressful in the weirdest way, but everything goes away, man, when you get that call. I remember getting that call from the Baltimore Ravens and, seeing that 410 area code come up, man, and Ozzie Newsome on the other line. At that point, man, nothing else mattered, man. I was just happy to have the opportunity.
If you're a draft prospect, are you memorizing area codes so you know as soon as it pops up on your phone who it is?
Hell yeah. I got a call from Lincoln Riley. Coach Riley called me in the middle of like day 2. And I can't remember, maybe he had just spoke to a team or something. And he called me and I remember because I had stepped away from the TV. It probably was, man, late second round at this time. And my phone was facing down and I was like, who is it? It's like Coach Riley. I'm like, damn, what the hell does he want? And
not today, Lincoln.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, I kind of tried to keep up with the area codes everywhere.
There's a story of former player Larry Izzo having to use the bathroom, but he couldn't leave the field, so he had to poop in a bucket. And because he pooped in a bucket, he was able to stay on the field, and he got a game ball for that. Have you ever witnessed something happening like that?
From Belichick, a game ball. Excellent question, Roy. Have you ever witnessed someone on the sidelines?
I've never seen a on the sideline. I've seen someone themselves. I've seen somebody take on a double team themselves, but thank God I guess we didn't have white pants on, but
who shit
I can't not just name dropping, no name name dropping, no name, but you know who you are and you know yourself. That's just plainly put.
Can I get from you, I don't know if I push it when you say that there are some guys who are talkers, because I believe that you would find stimulating the challenge of ad lib. If I made you put together a top 5 list right now of guys that you had to rank in order, talkers that you've faced against, even though you're not much talker, you say they tend to be the best players. Can you put that list together for me? Would you give me 5 names in reverse order?
Yeah, I'll try to give you the best in order. Jadeveon Clowney, Melvin.
Hold on. Yes, that's number 5. Jadeveon Clowney. Do you have a memorable back and forth with him? He seems like a terribly menacing man.
Yeah, he is very menacing, man. We have a lot of competitive battles, but it's just a lot of talking out there. He's a great athlete. He knows he's a really good player, and he got a great feel for the game too, man. He's got a great IQ. So, everything is, I guess you could say he's playing chess with his shit talking, but he's really good at what he does.
Okay, but he doesn't seem, I'd not heard before that, and this is a strong list if you're starting with him at number 5. I'd not heard before that he was strong here. He seemed like the quiet type. He tells you how good he is.
Yeah. He's gonna talk a little. You know what I mean? Like he might, take a little shot here and there, all for fun and games within the game, man. But he's a guy, man, I love competing against. He's gonna talk a little trash.
Number 4.
Travis Kelce. I gotta put T. Kelce in there, man. T. Kelce is gonna talk that now, and he's gonna do his job at a high level. He's gonna let you know that he's doing his job. I probably should have him higher on my list, but I'm gonna leave him at 4 now. He's a baller now. I've seen him do some funny. Stuff.
A good list.
Say some funny stuff.
All right, number 3.
Number 3, I'm gonna go with Melvin Ingram. Melvin caught me plenty of times. I played with him in Kansas City. My rookie year, we played there on a Saturday night, and I remember he made a comment to me, and I kind of figuratively shot myself in the foot. I don't want to butcher it, but I think it was like he said something to me. He said something to me like, "You sorry as hell," and I was like, "You sorry as hell too." And he's like, "You admitted that you sorry." And I was
Got
like,
your
"Oh
ass
shit!"
there.
It's like, all right,
Yeah, you got you.
all right. Fuck you too then.
You really got checkmated there.
Yeah,
You did admit you were sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But he's on my list. He's a dog. Number two, Brandon Graham, Philadelphia. Hey, everybody knows BG gonna talk that trash, man. He's a great football player. I mean, he's a ton of respect just around the league. But I had a joint practices against him my second year up there in Philadelphia, and then I played him my third year. Played him in the Super Bowl. Lot of shit talking between me and BG, man. Just a lot of back and forth, but it's all fun and games within the game, man. I got a lot of respect for him.
And finally, number 1.
I got to go with my man Trey Hendrickson, man. It's just shit. Hey, it's just it's a dogfight. If I imagine if Rocky Marciano talked shit, it'd be how Trey Hendrickson does it. I don't know what that means, but there you go.
It sounds good though.
White guy talking shit.
Exactly. There we go.
You're an ambassador for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. This is something that means something to you. I'm sure our audience fell in love with you. To learn more and help support the worldwide effort to end type 1 diabetes, you want to go, what is the website that you want people to go to? What is it that you want them to do?
Visit jdrf.org, man. It's type 1 has pretty much been in my family, man, forever. My dad passed of ketoacidosis when I was 15, which is a form of a diabetic coma. My brother was diagnosed with type 1 at 8 years old. I was 9 at the time. And both of my grandparents, man, passed of complications of it. So it's just something that hits home for me, man. I've spent a lot of time around it, man. One of my best friends, Mark Andrews in Baltimore, who went to college together and played together in Baltimore. And, I've seen it firsthand with him being an athlete and my brother. And so, it's a cause that hits home for me, man. And continuing to, fight to make things more affordable for diabetics, whether that be pumps, insulin, whatever it may be. And, just continuing to, look and research for a cure as well.
Do not let them alter you with their conservative ways, sir. Thank you for being on the show with us. Travis Kelce said that when you left Kansas City, he said, quote, it hurts my soul, man. It hurts my soul. It's like watching your best friend just turn evil on you. Yeah. You're somebody that he loves and loved, but now you're on the other team, so you got to go away. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I don't know if Zaslow feels the way that I do about this, but when I hear Goldie or Bob Wischusen on goal calls, when I'm listening to playoff hockey, and when I hear South Florida talent being the voices for sports, that are there at the exciting times.
You know who I heard during the Islanders Hurricanes game on ESPN? Roxy Bernstein.
Yeah.
Roxy Bernstein, who went from doing ballless games, now he's doing national
huge
hockey.
Miami contingent of broadcasters, play-by-play, who are all over the place now. It's cool.
And listening to the goal calls, I'm going to give you 3 goal calls. I don't want to put the pressure on all of you to pick one from among them, but what I'm telling you is one of the coolest things in sports and in playoff anything is when your sports voices are really regionally connected and you can hear the emotion as they take you home from an overtime game and you know enough to know, oh, I've been listening to that dude for 20 years down here. This is his dream job, to have that job in the South Florida market and call these games for a great team, because this team has been this organization has been so hard to support and cover for so long. For him to survive every regime, for him to survive all the regimes and be calling these games, play for me, please, the sound of Goldie last night sending people home.
Kachuk spins. Lundell in the slot in front. The chance. Let's go home, baby! It's Mr. Clutch. Carter Verhaeghe for the Game 2 win.
Buttered toast is what they call him. And again, the overtime winner. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Buttered toast?
That's what they call Verhaeghe, apparently.
Is that a hockey thing? Or?
I've never heard him call that, but that was Randy Moeller on the color analyst side there.
Randy Moeller, our beloved Randy Moeller.
Can I just tell you about Randy Moeller real quick? Because I did the Panther games 2009 and 2010. I was in the studio with Moeller for 2 seasons. Oh, they were terrible. And Moeller, I feel so good for Moeller. Like, I know, obviously, Goldie as well. But I feel so good for Moeller because he cares so much about that team, about that organization. He was there through the years when he was doing play-by-play as a former player with no experience, did play-by-play on the radio side and then transitioned to television, eventually replacing Denny Potvin. Moeller cares so much. It's one of the reasons I hated Michael Yormark so much, because Moeller almost died. Like, he had a medical episode at one of the games, and just all the pressure that tyrant was essentially, Moeller cares so much, and it's really cool that both of them, Randy and Goldie, are part of this now.
Billy is not in traffic. I'm looking at video here. I wanted him in traffic that was a pretty egregious sin there. Billy has been an anarchist in special ways this week, and I think he's projecting because of everything Stugotz is putting him through. He is descending into madness, and I think he wants to be in traffic because I don't think he wants to get to the pressure of tomorrow night when he has to count on Stugotz to bring it for 4 hours, and he can't trust him to get there, never mind know anything about the draft.
Not a ton of traffic on Biscayne today.
He looks bored.
He's not in traffic. He's eating potato chips like a pelican, shoveling them in a guy. He looks like he's comfortable out there being paid by the company to do nothing. It's the penalty is walk in traffic for what it is you did. Walk in the traffic.
I hope the chips aren't salt and vinegar.
Ugh.
They were.
Can end up in a bad situation.
They were.
Can you give us some Randy Moeller goal calls? He was so nice to us doing goal calls that our listeners were suggesting.
Here comes Booth down the other way. Throws it over the far side. Shoots. He scores! Stephen Weiss takes the feed from David Booth and puts it top shelf where Mrs. Moeller keeps the peanut butter.
David Booth.
No, that's not what I wanted, Chris. I wanted Randy Moeller doing goal calls for our entire show.
Where Mrs. Moeller keeps her peanut butter?
Oh, no, that's what
That's
he
not for
usually
us.
does.
That's a
but that wasn't for
go-to
us.
Moeller line.
Chris, are you
That
not
sounded fun to me.
Chris, are you not aware of what our show's
I know he's done.
history
I know
is
he's done
with
pop,
Randy Moeller?
Yes, pop culture references. I thought that was
Come
just
on,
one of them.
Chris. We all know the show's history with Randy Moeller.
What is Billy doing?
Pacing.
Not in the street.
How is this my executive team? Who's drilling?
Who's drilling?
We've got another goal call. Bob Wischusen also came up from South Florida, although he's different. He is not. I don't know. Did he rise to this moment with emotion because of any of South Florida that he has in him? Because to know the history of this team is to feel it when these goals are scored. Let's hear the Wischusen call.
Nice spin move by Kachuk. Freed up to Lundell on the doorstep. Holding. Shot. Score! They're hanging. Does it again in the playoffs. The Rats fly. And game 2 belongs to the Panthers. That's what I'm talking about.
At the moment.
Who is his teammate there?
I think it was
Ryan Callahan?
Ryan Callahan is his color analyst last night, yeah.
Now we've got a third goal call for you, and this man evidently is a plague in Tony's life. I did not know this before I mentioned that I wanted the 3 goal calls on that Panther. What happened with you and Doug Plagans?
No,
Plagans.
No, Doug Plagans is a great guy, consummate professional, excellent at what he does. As you're going to
really
hear from his goal call, he's excellent. My issue, Dan, is when I was a producer way back when in WQAM, I was tasked with being the board up for Panther games when I was on the schedule. So anytime I would see a Panther game, I knew it was going to be a late night. Obviously, sometimes the game started at 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, depending on where they are. And then
the bowels of radio. You're doing the bowels of radio.
It's me and Kevin Rogers, and I'm staring at Kevin Rogers in the studio. He's doing halftime or 2 halftimes or whatever.
But you're living in the gutter of radio.
I'm literally living in the QAM studios on 441 across the street from Tootsie's, and I'm like,
you'll never make it in this business, kid. This is the bowels of it. K. Rogers doing the halftime report.
Halftime report, sometimes Dono, shout out to Alex Dono. But I would sit there, and we would have to go in and out of breaks, of commercials, Doug talking back and forth. And then for some reason, every time I was on the schedule, the Panthers would always have an overtime. And I'm like, guys, this makes my life a living hell because it's another 45 minutes.
Free
and I have
hockey.
to be here. It sucked. I hated it. So anytime that the Panthers were going to overtime, I have this PTSD. Anytime I hear Doug Plagans' voice, I also have PTSD.
Can you play the goal calls for me? Because Randy Moeller tried to make it entertaining for us. Hockey on the radio. Poor Tony was dying in these studios, working in the porta potty of our radio business, just doing halftimes. And Zaslow was doing late nights. Zaslow was doing... can you imagine a Portland game going into overtime and Zaslow's got to get up for the morning show?
Oh, my God, a Heat game. Because I used to do mornings. We were on at 5:30 a.m. When a Heat game, when I was on the broadcast and a Heat game would go to overtime, oh, my God, I want to jump out the window.
Seriously, it's one of the worst things in broadcasting is overtime. People are like, yeah, free hockey, free basketball. You're like, no, God, I have
Where
to run.
grandma keeps the good stuff.
You're not doing
Still
this
not-
right.
no, he's still not doing
You
it right,
still don't know how to do this correctly. And Billy's not walking in traffic. He's walking on the crosswalk. I don't know what Billy's
Billy
doing.
on the street.
Say hello to my little friend.
He did. We have.
Does he need to like dodge a car like Frogger for you to be happy?
Yes.
If there's any person in this world that I would love to throw a bucket of hot grease on, it's you.
Wow.
That was on a goal call?
I'm emptying the clip right here.
Yeah, but you're finding none of the things that I've wanted. There's not a single one of them. We have 7 or 8 goal montages of his goal calls saying phrases in honor of our audience. It's only one of the most famous things we've ever done.
Randy Moeller's got a huge pair of L's in his name.
I like this one better.
Keep playing whatever you got in there. None of this is what I'm requesting.
Spell Randy Moeller.
From the spelling bee.
Spelling bee.
Yeah,
Wow.
from the spelling bee.
RANDYMOELLER.
You were
Randy
doing the
Moeller.
opposite of all of the entertaining things that I wanted.
This is helpful. Now I know who we're finally talking about.
Can I get the Doug Plagans goal call, please?
Wall on the near side, Lilleberg trying to poke it away from Chuck, loose out front. Backhand try, and they score! Carter Verhaeghe upstairs, and this one's over! The Panthers win it in overtime! 3-2 the final! Carter Verhaeghe, the game winner!
I'm on the goddamn Dan Le Batard Show.
Yes, you are, sir. Yes, you are. You are brushing your teeth on the goddamn Dan Le Batard Show. They are pearly. Thank you, Paul. I think it'd be funny if we created this character for you, where you gave all your takes super clean with a toothpaste sponsor because you want to present your hot takes on the Boston Celtics. You want them to gleam, to sparkle. Thank you for being on with us. I now have two co-hosts who have walked out in protest because they are such big Miami Heat fans. And
my God. Oh, yeah, where the old boy at? What's his name? That gave the bit the last time? Where Ruiz at?
Yeah, Mike Ryan Ruiz is afraid of you, and Zaslow just left too. We'll have interactions between you two.
Where the motherfucker Ruiz at? Bring his ass on here.
Where's the motherfucker Ruiz is a great question.
He running, huh? He running today, huh? I'm ready.
Yes, the hatred for you is strong in Miami. You delight in this, correct? You were a professional troll and you got to play at the highest of competition against the best. You take pride that Miami still hates you, correct?
Oh yeah, I just retweeted the game winner I hit on them in 2010. You know what I'm saying? So we got no love for Miami. So it is what it is. I bleed green. Y'all know what it is. So that's what it is.
The game winner was super cool. Then what happened after that, the next few years?
Wow.
What you mean what happened the next few years? Oh, y'all called it up each other. Y'all called up the Avengers. Y'all called the Avengers up.
Mm-hmm. That's not what happened in Boston?
No, we didn't do that.
It was the branding.
Y'all had to bring the Avengers to the planet because we was destroying everything.
Mm-hmm. Just following Boston's lead.
A villainous swig from the coffee. Look, man, he played at the top of the sport, and that feeling. Right. You're talking about Game 5. This
was 14 years ago. Yesterday, the 23rd. Oh, yep. Step back. Wop, 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 wop.
What?
The truth.
Play the other one. Play the other one. That I hit on LeBron.
All right.
What about that one?
All right, hold on a second. You're talking about Game 5. We'll get that for you. Yeah, we're talking.
Play that one.
Well, now we're doing greatest hits.
No, we're not doing this.
For that
no, we won't play that.
That Ruiz.
Yeah, where he at?
No, let's allow Paul Pierce to do some play-by-play commentary on one of the most famous shots of his career. We'll get it in a second, Paul.
All right, there we go.
Because I just yelled at David Sampson a second ago. I understand that you live a life of great riches and entitlement, but the videos you want on a moment's notice, even though you can do it on the internet, our video team has not yet found it. Chris, why are you panicked?
Who's David Sampson?
What?
They said 30 seconds they'll have it for us. But before we get to you doing play-by-play of that with your pearly white teeth, please just explain to me the level, because Boston and Miami are playing right now. What level of joy? What level of joy do you get from what you're...
Hey, look. You see how I called for Ronald to pick to get LeBron on me? You see that?
What?
They had that. Wop. Yeah, let's play it. Yeah.
Dan, that's
where Ruiz at?
Where is he at?
Look. Hey, put a hand up. Put a hand up. Wop. Come on now. Hey, where Ruiz at?
How is Mars, Truth?
What?
How is Mars? Your star's on Mars.
Oh, that was amazing, dog. Yeah, that was a good experience. Did you watch it? You got to watch it. We was on Mars. Trying to explore a new habitat just in case this happens one day.
In case what happens?
See, they only can bring people like me on Mars. You know what I'm saying? Y'all wouldn't survive.
You and Marshawn, you're running the house.
Who is this? Billy Gil? Gil what? It's just Gil?
Yeah.
What's the rest of it?
What?
His last name is Gil.
Where's the rest of the name? It's just Gil.
That's it.
You want okay? What do you want?
Gil.
You want some?
I mean Gilbert or Gillian or it's just Gil.
Guillermo. Something. He wants more. He wants more name.
I thought more name. I thought it had more name to it.
What is the nature of your feelings toward Miami? Those scars, have they healed? Because when you fight, I just talked to Joakim Noah about this yesterday. He's still mad about things from 15 years ago because he cared unreasonably about performing in front of people. You were playing at the top of the sport. You're a Hall of Famer. You've survived a stabbing. Like you are a man whose story is
I've been to Mars.
Is championship worthy. Your hatred for Miami is the strongest of the sports hatreds you have?
It's up there with New York too. It's up Miami, New York, Lakers. It's only a few. You know, this is what's not in sports anymore, Dan. You know, because that is what people wanted to see. The hatred, the rivalry, the competitive spirit. And, you know, I just don't see that no more. Like, guys, like, there's no way I would knock Wade or LeBron down or then grab their hand and pick them up. You know, now everybody is hugs after the game. And I'm not saying I hate them, you know, but it's just all in the spirit of the game. Like, if I saw them out in public, it wouldn't be it'd be like, oh man, it's respect. You know, like when we go to the All-Star game, I'm shaking their hands and I'm giving them love, but like in the spirit of the game, in the spirit of competition and of rivalry, that's just what it was when we was on the court.
But you sound like an old head, and you haven't shaken hands with Udonis. Like, I don't mean to make it about the smallest of things, but you guys, if Udonis, what is this happening? Oh, look, now Ruiz is here.
Hey,
Wait a minute.
look.
Now, mother.
Oh, is that Ruiz right there?
Yeah.
That's him?
Yeah. Yes, that's Ruiz. You can argue with Ruiz. You guys.
You got to brush off, Dano.
I feel like it's that scene in Bring It On.
Hey, bro, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I ain't backing down, Paul. I ain't backing.
doing it
Calling
right.
me out?
Yeah, I'm
calling me out. I'm not in there once. You're familiar with the number one, right? It's the only title you've ever won. One.
Bro, you know what number one stands for? Down one right now. Miami versus Boston. 0-1.
Wow. Flat track bully.
0-1.
I'm sure you celebrate your pre-LeBron series win over Miami too. You're a big disappointment, Paul Pierce. I'm only upset right now that I don't get to do this in person, Paul Pierce.
Hey, how disappointed is it to be a Miami fan right now?
Brother, actually, you make a really great point.
How disappointed is it to be a play-in team every year and hope that Jimmy Butler somehow has put his Superman cape on and hopefully carry y'all to the finals? How disappointed is that? How is that? Just hope. You guys have hope. That's it.
Well, I mean, Paul, they also have Eastern Conference championships because they beat.
No, we don't. I don't want to hear no goddamn Eastern Conference championship. Nobody cares
really?
about that.
You don't want to hear about Eastern Conference championships? You want to hear about 3 rings?
We don't talk about Eastern Conference championships in Boston because we want to put that up. We probably got about 30 of those.
Yeah.
But we don't raise those banners in Boston, homie. We only raise championships.
You got
the
only banners that you got, Paul, are when people used to wear belts around their socks.
No,
you got no champion. Yes,
around
you don't raise
socks.
Eastern Conference championship banners because in my lifetime, what do you got? 3? How long you been alive? How long you been alive? How many Celtics championships have you seen?
Hey, man, you need to line up your wannabe Travis Kelce beard up.
Oh,
come on, dog. You need to line that up, bro.
What?
Hey, line that wannabe Travis Kelce. Go get his barber so he can get you right.
Paul, did he invent the fade?
I did.
See, pull your hat off. Let me see what you got going on, dog.
Oh, no. Wait a second. I think you and I see the same colorist, by the way, Paul. I'm looking at that. That is suspiciously dark, Paul Pierce.
Y'all crazy, man.
Keep ducking me.
No, I ain't ducking you. As a matter of fact, I need
ducking
to fly.
me,
Yeah,
Paul.
look at that. Let me see what y'all arena look like.
Are you serious?
Let me see.
Are you
Put a picture of
serious?
y'all
Are you
arena
taking
look
credit
like.
for the 1947?
Hey, man, listen.
You
History
beat
is
the
history.
Acme Packers. What are you
Show
talking
some
about?
respect for the forefathers. Show some respect for the history of the game. Show some respect to the pioneers of the game of basketball.
Yeah. Our arena's LEED certified, I'll have you know.
Nah, man, nah.
You've been alive for one championship. Now, granted, you were on that championship team.
I watched Boston versus Celtics growing up in L.A.
You watch
I
Boston
want to hear
versus
that.
the
Yeah.
Celtics.
Just because you hey, listen, dog. Hey, that's not gonna work, bro. You can't be like me. You gotta have a small one first of all.
Okay.
The small one, and
That is
it got built-in toothpaste in it. You just brushing yours.
All right,
you ain't got
this was an
the new one.
excellent brush off. Look, I'm here for this as weekly episodes. If you guys want to do a brush off, I'm here for it. Check out new episodes of the Truth Lounge with Paul Pierce every Friday on the Draft Krings Network and at all the Smoke Productions on YouTube. You got anything else, motherfucking Ruiz, or you done?
Yeah, get motherfucking Ruiz up out of here. They down 0-1. They about to go down 0-2 tonight, and your season gonna be over in the next 4 days.
I only pay attention
what?
to hockey, Paul Pierce, and that's the truth.
Oh, I dropped mine. Damn.